Now I invite James Humberstone up to talk about the impact.
Me to do this. It's my pleasure to read the book, but I'm not actually going to do there's a writing or a purpose to writing, and it's an impact on the audience, and this is what this book does. However, I should sort of prelude it by saying, firstly, the Sri Lankan audience will understand the book a little bit better than some of the Australian audience. Form that allows writers to compose stories which express their personal thoughts and ideas using and connectable characters and poignant themes that provide insights and perspectives about many interests. And aimed at audiences who will enjoy them, who will learn from them, and more importantly, and after reading it, Dr. Pushpa's novel certainly had an impact on me. At school, you might remember that English teachers approached the study of the novel through 5 areas. Now, Dr. Pushpa's novel can be summarised by the following. The plot of Lost in Floral Rain is a simple told story of a girl's journey to becoming a doctor. The main character through the way that she tells her story. The setting takes place in Nuwara, Sri Lanka during the 1970s, a troubled time for those living in the country. Despite there being a number of themes evident throughout the novel, the main one concerns the steps of a young girl undertaking to survive in a world she is basically naive about. The final area that was taught is that of style. In Lost in Floral Rain, the stories are related in first-person narrative, with poetry and artwork used to enhance meaning. All work together to chronicle the high but we are no longer at school. And although we never stop learning, as adults we specialise in what we learn, which usually concerns our jobs. Reading for some is time consuming, for others a form of relaxation. For people who enjoy reading, the impact of what they read into their lifestyles, culture and identity. These insights allow them to follow the action and develop a kind of attachment to the characters in the fiction. This is why stories leave lasting impressions when they are written well. Good writing should stimulate the reader. You're missing out. Reading is an escapist activity that allows one to enter imaginary worlds. There were those worlds and experiences with the reader. Good stories must allow readers to immerse themselves into the mindset of characters. A good writer should be able to position audiences to like or dislike they do. This is why this is why the written word is powerful, and why a good story told well takes the reader on a thrilling adventure into worlds they would never enter in real life. Dr. Pushpa's novels allows readers to accompany Kusum on her journey. They go with her on her journey and ultimately experience her pain, fears, wonderment and delights. This is what I mean when I say stories take people on thrilling adventures and give insights into characters' lives and the worlds they inhabit. So let us get to the reason why we're here tonight. We are here to celebrate the launch of Dr. Pushpa's first foray into the literary world with a novel titled Lost in Floral Rain, Journey of a Medical Student. While reading it, I was transported to a time and a country whose culture and lifestyle I knew little about. Through Kusum's eyes, I found myself developing a sympathetic relationship with this innocent, young, naive and vulnerable girl as she embarked on her journey. Dr. Pushpa used the first live with Kusum's verve that it is hard to believe we are here to celebrate a work of fiction and Dr. Pushpa is not describing her own life story through the persona of Kusum. The author does not get too hung up with describing the complex events and calming, while Kusum's voice was mostly relaxing and the events related relatively free from drama. For me personally, the novel was a page turner. I was drawn into the magic of the writer's words and found it difficult to put it down. I hope you do when you read it as well. I also found that as I read the book, I was able to understand Kusum's innocence. It was refreshing to note that she was ignorant of the political hotbed she was living through, the politics behind her Ama's transfer, and the brutal treatment of university dissidents after their protests were crushed. Not providing extensive details of these traumatic events is in keeping with Kusum's characterisation. However, at the end of the novel. However, since writing that and listening to your husband's account of the history of Sri Lanka, it makes more sense. Stylistically, the storytelling is concise and episodic. If one is from Sri Lanka, then this feature of the novel is understood. However, as a Sudar, the Sinhali word for white non-Sri Lankan, I wanted more, am I correct here? I wanted more details about the country's life, customs and culture. I wanted to become more fully immersed in Kusum's world and learn more about the country and time in which she lived. Australian audiences, unlike Sri Lankan ones, expect a structured background story, or a backstory as some will call it, that explains and puts events into perspective. Earlier in this talk, I touched on the novel's structural features. I want to mention them again because those features enable this novel to have some unique qualities. The artwork gives a visual introduction to the and provides a springboard into its contents. However, for me, it is the use of poetry to introduce each chapter that adds an extra layer of meaning to the chapter's content. I thought this was a risky undertaking, as poetry is a literary form which many readers find challenging. This is because poetry condenses ideas into a few words. Those words, then, have to be expanded by the reader in order for sense to be made of them. And for a lot of people, this is just too hard, too time-consuming. But in this novel, Dr. Pushpa's use of poetry captures the heart of each episode in Kusum's life in a very clever way. It was this feature that I enjoyed the most. I once told Dr. Pushpa that she should have written each chapter as diary entries, because on first reading I was a bit lost as to when things were happening. But since then, I have reconsidered this, because firstly, I can clearly see that the poems and artwork chronicle the issues of time in their own way, and secondly, Dr. P has adopted a Shakespearean attitude to time. Shakespeare believed that audiences would instinctively know that events endemic to the plot's action would occur over days, months, or even years, so they should not be overly concerned with the issue of time. Dr. Pushpa seems to have instinctively understood this. She also has understood that the reader's brain will process all the possibilities contained in the plot and consciously fill in any gaps where necessary. Well done, Doctor. So, to finish off this talk, I want to say that what Dr. Pushpa's novel is a great read. What she has written is a wonderful way to understand writers and the characters they create. So read Dr. P's book and enter into Kusum's world, and once more, you too can imagine you are on her journey as you too get lost in floral rain of jacarandas and memories. It isn't hard. Enjoy the spirit of her adventures, because they will pulse through your veins long after finishing the book. And once you return to the present, you will be a new and better person for having gone on the journey through fiction. Thank you for listening to my talk on the impact of writing and how Dr. P has applied it to her novel. And thank you, Doctor, for writing such a wonderful book. I hope you write many more.